right, today let's go ahead and get started standing. We're going to start with some breath work. Today we're going to be using our alternate nostril breath. So what we're going to want to do is take the thumb and then the ring finger and the pinky finger. Starting by holding down the right nostril right where it flares out and breathing in through the left side, taking a nice deep inhale. Then closing off the left side and releasing the right side, exhaling out. And again, inhaling through the right, closing, and exhaling out through the left. You can just close the eyes. Doing this a couple rounds. What this does, it just releases the nervous system and balances out the body. Just one more time to each side. Last time. Good, and exhaling. We'll start by taking our chest expansion. So we're going to take the hands out in front of us and then inhaling them back behind, drawing the shoulder blades together, exhaling, bringing the energy in the hands right in front of the heart, exhaling, flowing with the breath, starting to feel the connection of the movement and the breath. Inhaling, opening, and exhaling, releasing, opening up the chest, opening up the shoulder blades. The last time we're going to reach the hands behind, working on interlacing the fingers, drawing the shoulder blades together, rolling them down and back, and then reaching the fingertips back. Making sure not to lock the elbows so that we don't lock the elbows in place or the shoulders in place. Taking a couple of breaths, and then we'll release the hands. Moving into our lateral flexion flow. So inhaling, exhale, drop the right hand down as you gaze up to the left fingertips. Inhaling and exhaling over to the other side. So we've stretched out the front of the body and the back of the body with that chest expansion flow. Now we're just stretching out the sides. One more time. And exhale, release both hands, relaxing the neck. So just take a couple of neck rolls. Really just trying to loosen up the whole torso. From the neck, through the chest, through the waist. Making sure to go about 2 times to each side. And remaining, coming back to the center. Releasing the hands onto the knees, moving into our standing cat-cow. So what we're going to be working with is some spinal articulation. So we're going to again start with our breath by inhaling, sending the heart forward, releasing the pelvis up to the sky, and then exhale, round the spine, pulling the navel into the center, tucking the pelvis, and then inhaling, extending, exhaling, curling underneath, and flowing with the breath. So we're starting to build some heat in the body. We're working our core center, relaxing the spine. And let's go one more time, inhaling and exhaling. Rolling all the way to standing. So let's go ahead and move into our sun salutations, coming to the top of our mat. We're going to want to bring the toes together and the heels apart, hands coming into the heart center, standing in our mountain pose, feeling nice and grounded through the feet, tucking the pelvis, pulling the navel into the spine, shoulders are relaxed. And we'll start by inhaling the hands up, looking up, touching the fingertips, and then exhale, sending the heart forward with a flat back, releasing the hands and releasing the head. Taking a neutral spine. From here, we're going to take a flat back, growing length through the spine. So wherever the hands come, maybe they come to the shins, maybe they come to the thighs, or maybe they release to the floor, wherever we need to place the hands in order to get a nice length in the spine. And then from here, exhaling, releasing, taking that neutral spine position again. Planting the hands down underneath the shoulders, and we're going to step the right foot back and then the left. Coming into our full plank pose, also known as top of a push-up. From here, seeing if we can keep the knees up as we exhale, lowering the chin and chest, elbows squeeze in, lowering all the way to the stomach. We're going to relax the toes, roll the shoulder blades back, elbows squeeze in as we lift the heart forward to our cobra, making sure to keep the belly button and the lower rib cage on the mat. From here, exhaling, we'll tuck the toes underneath, pressing up to your plank, and exhaling back to your first downward facing dog. So just bicycling out the heels, alternating, pressing one down and then the other, stretching out the calves, the Achilles tendons, the hamstrings. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take a couple of those half series flowing with our breath to try and build some heat. So we'll take an inhale, coming into that plank again. Exhale as we lower. This time, see if you can just flip the toes, shifting forward into an upward facing dog, where the whole body is elevated off of the floor. The only thing that's resting is the hands and the tops of the feet. And then we'll tuck the toes, exhaling back, down dog. And going right into it again, inhaling, extending out through the crown of the head, exhale, lowering. Inhale, shifting forward, and exhale, pressing back. We want to move with our own breath, one breath per movement. Doing this a couple times on your own. Last time, inhale, exhale. Inhaling and exhaling, pressing those hips up and back, taking a couple of breaths, really lifting the pelvis up to the ceiling and pressing the hips back behind you. From here, bending the knees, looking between the hands, and we're going to walk the feet forward, back between those hands. Releasing over the legs. Taking a nice flat back again, growing length through the spine. Exhale, release. Inhale, extend the hands out to the side, growing up nice and tall, touching the palms. And exhale, releasing the hands down and into the heart. Starting to get into some standing postures, we're going to start with our flowing archer. So we're going to take that stance just like our warrior poses. Our wrists are going to be right over the ankles. We want to have a nice heel-to-heel alignment with the feet, and the front foot is going to be pointing forward, the back foot is at a 45-degree angle. So we're going to combine our warrior one and our warrior two. So our warrior one, our hips stay square. We're going to bend that knee right over the ankle. As we inhale, we open the hips up to a warrior two, drawing back the right arm just like you're an archer, pulling your arrow back. And then exhale, release the hips forward as you release the hand. And again, we're flowing with the breath, always working on building that internal heat, breathing in and out through the nose, keeping the navel pulling in tight to the spine. And one more time. This time we're going to release that right hand all the way back. Maybe you open up the back foot a little bit so the hips can release. Coming into our reverse warrior, flipping the front palm, lifting up and back, and just holding for a couple of breaths. Again, working on feeling that length between the hip and the rib cage. Sinking into the hips, feeling the strength through the feet and the quadricep. And exhale, windmilling the hands down. We're going to move into our pyramid pose. So from here, we want to move the back foot in a little bit. So we have a shorter stance so it's easier for us to balance. Walking the hands out, growing long in the spine, and exhale, begin to release over the front leg. Taking a couple of breaths, so the front leg doesn't have to be completely straight. You can have a little micro bend in the knee. And just allow the spine to release. One more breath. And exhale, bending the front knee, walking the hands forward, moving into a warrior three. So we're going to take the right foot back, lifting it up to 90 degrees, engaging the core, pulling the navel to the spine, flexing the foot, the hips stay square, toes point down to the mat, and see if we can then, maybe you test one arm and then the other, bring that body up to meet the leg, holding at 90 degrees. And exhale, release. Release the leg underneath. Again, growing length in the spine. And inhaling, reverse swan all the way to seated. Exhale the hands down and into the heart. So let's go ahead and work onto the other side, starting by stepping back with the left foot this time. Again, aligning our feet, aligning our hips, and start by inhaling that arm back, and then exhale, release. Inhaling, pulling back, and exhale, release. Flowing with your breath, opening up the heart, the shoulders, the hips. And one last time. Releasing the arm all the way, extending it up, flipping the right palm and reaching up and back, just like you're reaching for the sky. Relaxing the right shoulder, making sure the right knee isn't rolling in, it's always pushing out. On our exhale, we'll release the hands down, windmilling them down, and pulling the back foot in, again moving into our pyramid pose. Taking a nice length of the spine as we inhale, and exhale, release over the leg. Working on releasing the chest to the thigh. And coming into our warrior three, testing our balance. So just being patient. Sometimes we don't have good balance on certain days. Walking the hands out about 3 feet in front of you. Finding your gaze there as well. Finding the energy pushing out through the left leg, toes pointing down. And then seeing if we can find our balance. Maybe one hand lifts, maybe both. And releasing the hands down, drawing the foot in underneath. Inhale, grow length. Monkey pose. Exhale, release over the legs. And inhale, lengthen all the way up. Drawing the hands down and into the heart. Alright, so now let's go ahead and move into our balancing postures. For today, we're going to work with our flowing quadricep stretch. So we're going to start by taking the right hand behind, picking up the right foot, and lifting the left hand up. Taking an inhale, and we'll exhale, release, and just flowing from side to side. So we're not going to hold anything too long. Inhaling, and exhaling. 3 times to each side. Trying to connect our breath into our practice today. And 1 more time to each side. Last time. And exhale, release. We'll step up to the front of our mat again. Coming to our mountain pose, always bringing the toes together, the heels apart. Hands into the heart, feeling nice and grounded through the feet, but lifted in the torso. Taking some time to just take a couple of breaths. Start to slow down the heart rate. And then we'll drop the hands down, inhale them up, touching the palms one last time, working our way to the floor as we exhale. Swan dive down, release over the legs. Inhale, find that length in the spine more than ever, extending to your furthest point yet. And then exhale, release over the legs. Stepping back with the right leg, we're going to come into a deep lunge. So we have the option to drop the bottom knee if we need to, if our hips are still a little bit tight today. Or we can lift that back knee up. Inhale, grow, lengthen the spine. Try not to bury the chin into the chest, always looking out. And exhale, sinking into the hip. Just holding here for a couple of breaths, starting to feel the hip release open. We're going to push off that back leg, stepping forward, and stepping back with the left. Switching sides. When we're in our deep lunge, we don't want to allow the knee to come past that ankle. When we do that, we start to pull on a bunch of tendons. So always making sure that we have nice alignment. And then exhale, sinking into the hip. growing length in the spine. Stepping back, planting those hands. We're coming to that plank one last time. Nice and strong. Exhaling, lowering. Inhale, shifting. Exhale, last down dog. From here, dropping the knees down, releasing the hips to the heels, chest to the thighs, hands out in front of you, forehead to the mat. Just taking a couple of breaths, feeling the length of the spine. And rolling up through each vertebrae, one at a time. We'll just go ahead and take a seated position with our feet out in front of us. Using the abdominals to help roll us down, one vertebrae at a time, onto the back. Moving into our inversion, our last two postures. Hands come underneath the hips. Working into our waterfall again, extending the feet over the head, closing the eyes, and just letting the blood rush from the feet down to the heart and the throat. Just beginning to soften the muscles. We're slowly releasing the hands. And we're again going to use the abdominals as we lower the legs down, flexing through the feet, propping yourself up onto the forearms, keeping the feet flexed, moving into our fish pose where we draw the shoulder blades back, puff up the chest, release all the blood from the throat, taking a nice counter pose. And then tucking the chin into the chest as we roll down onto the spine. Coming to our corpse pose for final relaxation. Just allowing the feet to come about 45 degrees apart, the hands 45 degrees apart. Finding a comfortable and natural breath. And just relaxing the whole body from the toes, through the legs, the midsection, the shoulders, the arms, all the way up through the throat, the jaw, and the forehead. And just enjoy your relaxation. Today, let's end our practice by drawing the hands into the heart and then opening them, tucking the thumbs in. This is just a symbol of our heart's opening. We'll close the eyes and end our practice with an open, a joyful, and a peaceful heart. Closing the hands once again, the divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste.